Recognized.
This debate today, it's about who gets to be an American. What opinions do we have to have to be counted as Americans? This is what this debate is about, Madam Speaker. There is this idea that you are a suspect if you are an immigrant, or if you are from certain parts of the world, or a certain skin tone, or a Muslim. Well, I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted? Is anyone surprised that I am somehow deemed unworthy to speak about American foreign policy? Or that they see me as a powerful voice that needs to be silenced? Frankly, it is expected.
That we're here for a very obvious reason. The door was open, and now we're dealing with that. And the door shouldn't have been open. I'm reminded when I was in the Senate Judiciary Committee in 2005, and Miguel Estrada was being filibustered by the Democrat majority at the time. And we know why. We know this because a memo that said very specifically that he was being filibustered because he was an Hispanic conservative was found, but then shoved aside. Couldn't talk about it. It was found on a server, and we shouldn't get it. There's a whole lot of backstory on that.
Beyond the walls of Washington, Ilhan Omar's political future appears increasingly uncertain. Reports from her home district indicate that public sentiment is beginning to tang, as many voters question whether she still embodies the values they once believed she stood for. What was once considered a secure seat is now showing cracks, with growing skepticism over her recent statements and political alignment. For some constituents, the controversy surrounding her words has shifted from mere disagreement to genuine disappointment. Political analysts are calling this moment a critical turning point, one that could mark the most serious challenge of Omar's congressional career. The fierce confrontation led by Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Chip Roy may have been the spark that tipped the scales, energizing critics and swaying previously undecided voters. What began as a dispute inside the House chamber has evolved into a full-scale reckoning outside it, where public perception could determine Omar's fate more than any committee vote ever could today. As the political storm intensifies, Omar faces an uphill climb to rebuild trust and credibility. The pressure is mounting from both sides. Opponents see an opportunity to unseat her, while allies struggle to defend her amid growing controversy. Her upcoming campaigns will likely define whether she can weather this crisis or whether it marks the beginning of the end for her time in Congress. But this moment isn't just about one lawmaker. Greene and Roy framed their impassioned speeches as a national wake-up call, a declaration that loyalty to America's founding principles must come before any political agenda or personal allegiance. They argued that unity, accountability, and patriotism should guide public service, not identity or ideology. Regardless of how Omar's story unfolds, one message rang clear across the country. The era of unchecked rhetoric in Congress is fading. For conservatives, this censure wasn't merely punishment. It was a statement of resolve, a sign that they intend to redefine political boundaries and restore what they see as moral clarity in government. And for Washington, it signaled the dawn of a new and more confrontational political chapter, one where words carry weight and actions come with lasting consequences.
Could associate myself and do with all the remarks the gentleman from South Carolina. I have very strong disagreement with a lot of the statements that Representative Omar has made. We've covered most of them. That some people did something is the one that really sticks in my craw pretty strongly. Raises a whole lot of flags for me. I think there are a significant amount of justifications to raise issues with respect to service on the Foreign Affairs Committee, but I would not go down this road. This is raw politics. That's what this is. When the door is opened, then there's a question. You have to decide what you're going to do. We're not going to unilaterally disarm. Just not going to do it. I'm tired of that. It just is what it is. Guys took a shot at someone on our team, about statements I disagreed with and took very much to task. But I've got strong disagreements with Representative Omar. I would prefer if it were just starting from scratch. I would not choose this path. I'd just say whatever stuff you all want to say. We'll say whatever stuff we want to say. Our manager pick our team. Let's go battle it out in committee. That's what I would say. I would say that's the right place to be. But at this point in time, it is my considered judgment that, like Nolan Ryan, we've got to respond. And I'm just going to be blunt and honest about it. That's just my belief. I think it's important. And I hope we'll get through this. We'll kind of hip check each other. Maybe we can sit down and figure out by the end of this Congress, next Congress, whoever's in charge, we figure out how we're going to play ball going forward and set those rules. Again, recognizing the statements that the representative has made, I find to be highly problematic, extremely concerning, raising very serious questions from a foreign affairs perspective, as the ranking member has raised about statements made and how he feels about people being on certain committees over here.
Gentlemen,
I think we should, in my opinion, we should withdraw from that battle going forward and then let each manager pick their team. And I'll be glad to yield to Jonathan Collins.
Chip Roy didn't hold back. Standing on the House floor, his tone was calm but unflinchingly direct as he called the vote exactly what it was: payback. He made no attempt to dress it up or hide behind political niceties. This, he said, was the natural consequence of years of partisanship and political score settling. In his words, the other side opened this door long ago, and now no one can close it. Roy reminded everyone that it wasn't Republicans who first started removing members from committees. That precedent, he pointed out, came from the Democrats when they pushed out GOP lawmakers over past controversies. What's happening now, he argued, is the result of that same playbook. Only this time, it's the Republicans holding the pen. His message was unmistakable. If fairness was abandoned once, it cannot be reclaimed halfway. He drew a sharp and powerful analogy to what's known as the nuclear option in the Senate, the moment when political leaders decided to rewrite the rules for confirming judicial nominees. What started as a one-time move to gain short-term advantage, Roy explained, spiraled into a permanent change that weakened the institution. That's where we are now, he said. Each side pushes the limit, and the cycle just keeps spinning. His words carried both warning and regret, a recognition that in modern politics, escalation has become the new normal. Roy's tone shifted as he spoke about the deeper meaning behind the moment. The gloves are off, he declared, not with anger, but with exhaustion, the kind that comes from watching an institution you care about tear itself apart. He reminded the chamber that there was a time he worked with Democrats, standing beside them after January 6th in defense of the Capitol and the country. Back then, he believed in rebuilding trust across the aisle. But that belief, he admitted, has been eroded by years of partisan warfare. Now, Congress doesn't debate. It retaliates. I end one of the most striking parts of his speech. Roy compared today's politics to an old-fashioned baseball rivalry, the kind where getting hit by a pitch means you hit back. That's the rule now, he said. You get hit, you swing. It was a metaphor that captured the brutal honesty of the moment. Politics as sport, not service, reaction over reason. Yet, beneath that raw acknowledgement, you could hear something else, a quiet longing for the days when policy, not personal grudges, drove the debate. Then, in a surprising turn, Roy broke from the partisan script. He admitted he hates this game. He doesn't want Congress to run on revenge or retribution. If it were up to me, he said, we'd start from scratch. He envisioned a Congress where both parties simply choose their members, bring their ideas to the floor, and battle it out through open debate, not political punishment. It was a rare moment of vulnerability, a glimpse of someone who still believes politics could be better than it is. But Roy wasn't naive. He acknowledged the reality as it stands. We didn't write these rules, he said, but we have to play by them. His tone made it clear that for now, he's operating in a system built on hard lessons and political bruises. If one side swings, the other side won't just stand still, because, as he reminded the chamber, that's not how this version of Congress works anymore. And that's the larger message. This wasn't just about Ilhan Omar, or even about one committee seat. It was about the soul of the institution itself. The House chamber has become a mirror of modern American politics, divided, defensive, and distrustful. What once was a forum for debate now feels like a battleground for revenge. Roy's speech laid bare the uncomfortable truth. The fight is no longer over ideas, But over who gets to hold the microphone? As the final words echoed through the hall, the air felt heavy, a mixture of defiance, fatigue, and reflection. Some lawmakers nodded quietly in agreement, others shook their heads, unwilling to concede his point. But no one could deny the gravity of what he said. The system is bruised. The trust is fractured. And until someone breaks the pattern, Congress may remain trapped in its endless cycle of political tit-for-tat. The question Roy left hanging in the air was one that resonated far beyond Capitol Hill. Can this system still fix itself? Or has politics simply become the new permanent battlefield of America?